10. Abigail White. In early 2022, 23-year-old British OnlyFans model Abigail White, nicknamed the Fake Barbie, experienced a rough patch in her relationship with her boyfriend, 22-year-old Bradley Lewis. The emotion she was feeling didn't mix well with the cocaine and the bottle of wine she ingested at a pub one night before she headed home with Lewis, where they got into an argument that turned deadly. Minutes later, a neighbor heard screaming and found Lewis laying on the floor of the couple's home with a stab wound. White initially told police that her boyfriend stabbed himself. However, she later admitted to it, but said it was an accident and that she only meant to intimidate him when she pulled out the knife. Lewis died from his wounds, and White was charged with murder. She denied killing the victim but admitted to manslaughter, adding that she was under a lot of stress after recently miscarrying and finding out that Lewis had cheated on her. Prosecutors, on the other hand, accused White of routinely abusing Lewis throughout the relationship and killing him because he broke up with her. The victim's friends testified that he told them he felt unsafe around White and that she'd stabbed and assaulted him multiple times. White was found guilty of murder and was consequently sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 18 years. 9. Fatal argument. Something went terribly wrong between 31-year-old Brazilian model Marcela Ellen Paiva Martins and her 40-year-old boyfriend Jordan Lombardi during an alleged drug binge in 2022. The pair were reportedly indulging in cocaine, cannabis, ecstasy, and other substances at a motel the night before their wedding when they began to argue during the early morning hours. Police claimed that at some point, Marcela grabbed Lombardi's gun and fatally shot him in the head. Needless to say, their wedding never happened. She then tried to flee in his Audi but crashed into the property's gates and went on to steal a school bus. Marcela surrendered to military police outside a convenience store, where they found her half naked. She told detectives that she and Lombardi got into an argument over his unwillingness to report his young daughter's claims that someone was abusing her. Instead, he bought a gun and vowed to take action against the perpetrator himself. As a survivor of abuse, Marcela was angry that Lombardi refused to pursue justice through the legal system. She's being held in custody while her case unfolds and was attacked by another woman on her first day in jail. Authorities transferred Marcela to another facility, where she received treatment for a panic attack and was put in isolation for her own safety. 8. Family prison break. 22-year-old Colombian Instagram model and influencer Ida Victoria Milano Manzanero and her 17-year-old brother accompanied their incarcerated mother to a dentist appointment in 2019 and broke her out of prison. The family was chaperoned by a security guard during the appointment in Bogota, but they managed to outsmart the man. They distracted him while Manzanero's mother, Milano Reboledo, climbed out a second-story window and scaled down the side of a building with some rope. She then got onto a motorcycle waiting for her below and fled to Venezuela. The harrowing escape was captured on camera and shows a shocked crowd of onlookers watching as the 38-year-old slid down the rope. Reboledo was just 6 months into her first term as a senator when she was arrested for voter fraud, corruption, and a weapon-related offense, bringing her political career to an abrupt end. She apparently based her campaign on being an honest and hard-working single mother. When her kids helped her escape, Reboledo was 2 weeks into a 15-year sentence for the charges. Police charged Manzanero and her brother for their role in the breakout. In the initial aftermath of her arrest, Manzanero appeared to relish in the attention it gained her in the media, as well as among her more than 3.6 million followers. But the behavior reflected poorly on the young woman in court. She was found guilty of facilitating her mother's escape and using a minor to commit a crime, and was sentenced to 7 years of house arrest. After her sentencing, Manzanero expressed relief that she avoided prison, but said that she planned to appeal the sentence. Reboledo was also charged, but has managed to remain in Venezuela as she fights her extradition. 7. Bruno Crump. In August of 2022, a teenager was minding his own business one night in Rio de Janeiro when a speeding motorcycle appeared out of nowhere and mowed him down. The impact severed part of his leg and it was dragged for 165 feet along the pavement, where it was found laying in the grass of a lawn next to the entrance of the beach. The teen was still conscious when first responders arrived on the scene, but he died shortly after being taken to the hospital. The driver of the motorcycle, 25-year-old model and influencer Bruno Crump, fled the scene and went to the emergency room, where he was treated for abrasions. When Crump returned for follow-up care, he was taken into custody on a warrant for his arrest. He was accused of riding the motorcycle without a license and riding at a speed of over 90 miles per hour. Apparently, Crump was well known for his habit of riding the bike dangerously around the neighborhood. Just days before he ran the teenager over, Crump was ticketed for riding without a license and for lacking license plates. During a court hearing, he claimed that he swerved to avoid some pedestrians who were in the street and struck the victim, who was on the side of the road. Crump said that he was unaware of the young man's death until days later. He admitted to speeding and apologized to the victim's family. The case is still ongoing to this day, but it's unlikely that Crump will walk free after the incident. 6. Lilia Sukova. When Russian model Lilia Sukova wasn't in the mood for intimacy with her husband one night in 2020, he left the house the next day and allegedly came home drunk with another woman. The 27-year-old would later claim that 28-year-old Sergei Popov was trying to prove to her that he could get someone else if she wasn't going to give him what he wanted. At some point during the night, Popov was rushed to the hospital with a fatal stab wound. Police arrested Sukova, who said that Popov became angry when she offered to cook for the woman he brought home, but not for him. She told investigators that she was cutting a tomato in the kitchen when he lunged at her. At first, Popov's male friend who was also visiting managed to pull him away, but when Sukova charged at her again, she plunged the knife into his chest in self-defense. Prosecutors alleged that she stabbed Popov on purpose, but she maintained that it was an accident and pointed out that she called for help right away and rushed to his aid. She was originally accused of manslaughter, but the charge was upgraded to murder. Sukova faces a 15-year sentence if convicted and continues to maintain that Popov was violent and abusive toward her throughout their relationship. 5. Mingus Reedus. As the son of supermodel Helena Christensen and actor Norman Reedus, 23-year-old fashion model Mingus Reedus was born into the spotlight. However, he gained the wrong kind of attention in 2021 when he punched a woman in the face during a street festival in Manhattan, and as a result, he was charged with misdemeanor assault. Reedus claimed that the woman he was accused of hitting was with friends, who followed and harassed him for at least 2 blocks. He said that the group threw water on him, pulled his hair, and threatened him, as well as the people he was with. The victim received treatment at a hospital for a cut under her eye, but otherwise she seemed completely unharmed. The lawyer representing Reedus told the Daily Mail that the allegations against his clients were baseless, and that there was no evidence of them being true. Shortly after his arrest, Reedus told the New York Daily News that he was swarmed by the women, and that the alleged victims were looking for a fight. He claimed that when someone pulled on his hair, he put his hand up in a defensive position and accidentally hit her. After experiencing a series of frustrating delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Reedus was allowed to plead guilty to the reduced charge of disorderly conduct. He was ordered to attend 5 counseling sessions as a result. 4. Catherine Young. In late 2020, police in Londonderry, Ireland received a call from someone claiming that former fitness model Catherine Young had made a post on social media threatening to harm herself. Officers went to her listed address and found the decomposing body of her partner Barry Devlin, who had apparently been dead for several weeks. A medical examiner determined that it died from drug and alcohol abuse. At the time, Catherine was in the hospital for depression. She claimed that she had no idea Barry was dead and that she thought he was detoxing from drugs at a separate facility. The 35-year-old also entertained the idea that maybe he was just done with the relationship. But authorities accused her of stealing his bank card and knowingly failing to report his death. She was also charged with stealing another man's car keys. The 35-year-old had 2 previous boyfriends who also died from drug overdoses, earning her the reputation of a Black Widow. Catherine had a long history of her own drug and mental health issues, but she maintained her innocence and fought the case against her. There was no evidence to suggest that she entered the home after Barry's death. A surveillance camera captured her picking up the mail, but she never went inside. And while police claimed that Barry's body was visible through a window, the court accepted her claim that she didn't know he was dead. The case was dismissed, and Catherine eagerly moved on with her life. She told the Sunday World that she started a charity to provide support to people with depression, and said that she knows she's burned a lot of bridges, but that she's determined to rebuild her life. 3. Samantha Curo. When 31-year-old model and influencer Samantha Curo's friend approached her with incriminating footage of a famous athlete in 2018, the pair began hatching a plot to blackmail him. The model and her friend, who live in Toronto, conspired with a third woman in the US to demand $2 million from the man in exchange for agreeing not to publish the video. Authorities have declined to identify the victim, stating only that he's a famous athlete. The footage the women threatened to make public reportedly shows him in the throes of a drug-fueled romp with 2 of the suspects. Each woman received $2,000 from the man, but they were both unsatisfied with the amount they received and wanted more. As collateral with expectations of future payments, they took a piece of expensive designer luggage. When the man failed to hand over more cash, the threats to post the video began, and Curo was apparently brought into the incident to help the women with their scheme. The victim changed his phone number, and his wife and daughter began receiving messages harassing them, at which point his lawyer advised him to go to the FBI. Under the impression that they were talking to the victim's financial advisor, the suspects negotiated the payment. Little did they know, they were interacting with an FBI agent, and they were soon arrested for their crimes. The escorts who recorded the video were sentenced to a little over a year in prison. As of early 2022, Curo was in a Canadian jail awaiting extradition to the US, where she'll face criminal charges. 2. Natalia Sikorska. Polish model Natalia Sikorska was caught trying to steal a handbag, a jacket, and a pair of shoes from a Harrods department store in 2017, after returning to Britain from a trip to the United States. Security guards caught her trying to leave the store with the items, which were valued at around $1,200. The 28-year-old was arrested, and she gave the judge an unusual excuse for her behavior in court. Sikorska said that her recent visit to the US left her with culture shock, which caused high levels of stress. She claimed that she was no longer the same person that she was before the trip and admitted to the attempted theft. The judge commented on how Sikorska is obviously a smart and talented young woman and ordered her to stay out of trouble. He spared her from jail time and issued a conditional discharge, along with a small fine. 1. Nahia Trindade. In 2019, Brazilian model Nahia Trindade accused famous soccer player Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. of brutally assaulting her in a Paris hotel room. She claimed that she said no to certain things and he did them anyway, and that he hit her repeatedly. Trindade shared her story candidly with the public, while Neymar adamantly denied the allegations, claiming that he was being extorted. He released WhatsApp messages and a video that he cited as proof that nothing really happened and that the interactions between him and Trindade were consensual. Records revealed that Trindade was accused of stabbing her husband, Esteban Alves, in 2014. She claims she committed the act in self-defense, and it appears as though she suffered no legal consequences. Authorities eventually dropped the case against Neymar due to a lack of evidence and charged Trindade with fraud, extortion, and slander. In an odd twist, they also charged her ex, Alves, with conspiring with her to blackmail Neymar. Trindade denied the accusation, claiming that she'd never put herself through the exposure of publicly airing her allegations against Neymar if they weren't true. There have been no updates on the incident since news of the model's arrest broke, leaving the status of the case a mystery. Would you rather be victimized by someone who seemed to be adored by the public no matter how much evidence points to their guilt, or score an amazing job based on your talents and be widely accused of landing the gig based on looks alone? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.